Black Out Loud Media Group, home of Digga Jones, Two Guns Tony, and Red's Troublemakers podcast, Pillow Talk with the Washingtons, The Wonderful World of Mr. Rosser, the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast, the Black Smoke Barbecue podcast, This Mindful World, Jesus Take the Wheel, the Mavcast, and Pass the Remote. Follow and share. Available everywhere you listen to podcasts. What's up, everybody? My name is Charlie Maverick. I'm an IT professional. I'm a content creator. I'm a barbecue pit master. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm a beat maker. I'm something like a philosopher. What I'm trying to say is I'm multifaceted. Come hang out with me as I talk to my friends and family as we chop it up about current events, tech, and anything else that hits close to home. And we have some fun in the process. You know how I do. Welcome to the Mavcast. Welcome back to the pod. My name is Charlie Maverick. I am accompanied today by one of my content creating brothers in arms, Jeffrey Boyd. How you doing, my man?
Charlie, I'm doing good. How are you doing, man?
I'm blessed and highly favored, man. You know, we have not been on a pod, just us two together in a couple of years, you know?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, you know, we started off on the Backyard Pitmasters podcast, and now we do the Black Smoke Barbecue podcast. Man, we do a lot together, you know, within the content creating realm. So before we get started on our old man rant, because you're here for an old man rant, let's be clear.
For sure.
Y'all saw the title of the podcast. Y'all know it's about to go down. If you listen to the previous episode, I talked about this little TikTok thing going on and some other social media stuff. Jeff wanted to get in and do an old man rant, and let's go. So before we do that, tell people about yourself, because a part of this show is helping people tell their narrative. I don't want to tell your narrative for you. You tell your story.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got into content creation back during the pandemic. It was a pandemic project. I had gotten a Masterbuilt 560 and just decided one day, pulled out the iPhone, I was like, let's go ahead and videotape these ribeyes. And so did a couple ribeyes on there and really got into it. It was just like, okay, hey, let's just take this thing and see how far I can go. Really have had a creative side. I was into not really acting, more so plays and stuff when I was in school, definitely in the band, things of that nature on the creative side, band and orchestra and chorus. So on that side of it, was really into the creative side of things. And that just kind of spurned into content creation. And from there, started the Outdoors with Jeff channel on YouTube and got on board with that and got onto Instagram, Twitter, and reluctantly Facebook. And
Reluctantly Facebook.
And that's about where I'm at right now with it. I enjoy making barbecue content, teaching folks how to make things. Really figured out a fine balance between the YouTube side and the Instagram side. The Instagram side is the flashy, here you go. The YouTube side was the long format teach. So kind of got into it from that perspective and really enjoy it.
Yeah, man. You know, you put out some great content when
Appreciate it.
You were early into your content creation during the pandemic. We hooked up on the pod, on the Backyard Pitmasters pod. We turned something into, you know, we created this Black Smoke Barbecue pod and all that. Got great folks together to talk about barbecue. And, you know, it's been great. And we've been dealing with a lot of social media stuff in the midst of it. You know, we got our little side issues going on with social media because of our pigmentation and all that stuff. But but okay, so all right, you last mentioned Facebook, so let's start off with Facebook because let me know what bothers you most about Facebook. First of all, let me ask you what you like about Facebook, because I know there's going to be a lot of negativity in this old man rant. So just give the good stuff up front. I don't know.
From a standpoint of what I like about Facebook, let's just say this: everybody is accessible.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, everybody is accessible. And I think that's honestly about it on the likes. And I'm not bashing it. Every form, or every platform has its positives and negatives. But I really just, from an aspect, first of all, let's just stop calling people friends because they're not.
Right.
Way back when Facebook first came out, it was like, hey, that's Charlie. I know Charlie from school, whatever the case may be. Let me go ahead and add Charlie as a friend and see if he'll do that. Not folks that I don't know and folks from overseas and everywhere that just kind of bombard you and things of that nature. So let's just change the term friends. Let's because they're not friends. These are just people that they just see something. They may not even know what it's about, but they just, hey,
The lurking, you know?
yeah. Hey, you asked to be my friend, then you be my friend, and then that's a +1 for them.
That's right.
And some folks may have a general interest. Some people really do have a general interest in the barbecue side of things and whatnot. I just find sometimes from a navigation standpoint, you really have got to get the different platforms down and where you want to spend your time with them. That's the biggest thing.
So, Facebook is where the people are. Obviously, over time they've gathered so much of the population because of what they've done with elections and all that stuff. You mentioned the navigation is a problem. I agree with that. There's certain things that Facebook has done over the years that has seemed like they were being more friendly to content creators, and then they just snatch it back. Do you feel kind of that same way?
Yeah, I do. I think the most recent thing, even though I wasn't monetized on Facebook, I'll say the most recent thing was them demonetizing the Reels. Because I know a couple of people that had really gotten into that, and they monetized well, and maybe a little bit too well to where now people are saying, "Hey, well, let's just pull the plug on this thing, and we'll figure something else out," So you got people that invested time and energy into building up a platform to where now you're wondering if it's really going to be viable, from folks watching it and from folks putting into it, because a lot of these folks, if they're not, if they're monetized and let's say they're not monetized on Instagram, they may just pull that time out and go toward where the possible money is,
Yeah.
And so, you really have a way of changing up the landscape per se when you do that.
I noticed one time before in the podcast area, Facebook. Well, let me back up, because the infrastructure, how Facebook kind of works is they're not friendly to exterior links. Like if you post a link from YouTube, they kind of suppress that in the priority of what people see. Learn that over time. So it was a little challenging for people to share their podcasts or whatever in the way that they used to do it. So Facebook would implement this, and it was maybe like 6 to 9 months, something like that, where they would let you put your RSS feed on your page, and anytime that you had a post come through on your RSS feed, it automatically posted to your page in a video format. Super dope, because that gives people the ability to play, and even if you leave the app, it plays the audio in the background. What's great, they snatched it away. I was like, no.
That's how they do, man. That's how they do, man. They get you hooked, they get you comfortable, and they just shake everything up and say, "Okay, let's try something different."
I want to get in the mind of Mark. I'm like, hey, man, can we stick with something for like at least a year?
Man, I tell you, they know what they're doing, and at the same time, they don't know what they're doing. Because I feel like in a lot of terms, we're really just going after the next best thing.
Yeah,
and that can be frustrating as a creator when you're trying to actively engage and maintain an audience or grow an audience, that side of it can really be frustrating at times. At the same time, it can help you grow and figure out different things. But I think, that kind of breeds a little bit of resentment from creators at times.
If you can fix anything about Facebook, not drastically or something that would cost them a drastic pivot for what they're trying to do, whoever they're trying to do, what would you tell Facebook to fix from a content creator perspective?
Go back to the monetization. Stick with it from that standpoint, because of the fact that you have people that are really willing to. Let's put it this way: you have people that are focused on a certain goal, versus everything else on Facebook, which is kind of just like the standing in the middle of the road screaming. And the folks that want to share the pictures of their kids and things of that nature. You have people that have a goal in mind and that are driving. If it's good for us creators, it's going to be good for Facebook.
Right.
If it's good enough for you guys to monetize it, then it's going to be a greater good for them. And that's the biggest thing where I think they could go back and make a change to give the creators a little bit more incentive to get back on there and to keep that thing going, because I'm anxious to see what happens over the next few months with this, because it really is something that can change the landscape of what they're doing.
Yeah. I would like to see what they're trying to do too. Now, when we talk about Facebook, we can't exclude the behemoth that it is to content creators right now and to the younger generation, which is Instagram. So what do you like about Instagram? I feel like even though they're the same umbrella company, Meta, I feel like they're run by. It feels like they're run by the same people, but not the same people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So what do you like about Instagram?
Instagram really brings out the trends. They bring out the trends, and they have really, I feel like, in a sense, revolutionized the reel format and the short form format, and that make sure I'm saying it right, the 16:9. They make folks level up their game. So they realized with that, YouTube had to get into reels. Yep. They even push. I'm sorry, not YouTube. Facebook had to get into reels, and then YouTube had to go ahead and make an adjustment and say, okay, well, we're going to start to monetize reels. It's nothing like what they're doing on Facebook, but it's that platform where people want that flip through. You can sit here and watch, and think about it. How many YouTube videos do you watch at a setting versus long format YouTube versus reels? It's probably at least three times the amount.
See, I'm odd. I think I fight against the tactic of social media to try to make me more ADD. So what I try to do is I go on YouTube and I try to stay away from shorts. I don't know what it is. I just fight against it. I'm like, please look at mine, but I don't want to look at yours. But I feel like when I go to YouTube, I'm like, I'm supposed to look at long form stuff. I'm conditioned, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. We've done that from that route, and especially from our age perspective. And I'll say this: I've had to I'll piggyback on Instagram, but for YouTube, I had to really look at my analytics and my demographic. My demographic on YouTube before I really even got into shorts on YouTube was 40 to about 65. And a little bit of 30s. So it was an older crowd, but it's the same folks that were that were looking on searching for the how-tos and those type things, and looking for those long format videos. Exactly. Hey, look, same here. Whenever I look, that's how I learned how to put up lights and change out light switches and all these different things and all that stuff, man. When it comes to that, on the short side, it's a clear difference when you look at it from YouTube Shorts to Instagram Reels. Because I was just talking with John from Black Smoke about this last week. It's a big difference. You know, the shorts on YouTube are still mainly engaged in that. Not the content, not the built up type of content or finessing content that you see on Instagram with the clear shots, you know, and the you know, the finely edited things and whatnot. It's more still the person that's holding their phone doing this, and or somebody running in and out of the room or something like that. That's still kind of what you see when it comes to those shorts, and they're just not as clean on YouTube. So I really don't watch shorts per se, and it's funny because like kind of what you say about the shorts, I'm still kind of the same way. I want folks to watch mine. I'll watch other content creators that I know that really put the detail into it, or focusing on the how to and what they're doing.
Right.
You know, on a cook or something of that nature, or explaining something. But to me, I'm not saying it's a waste of time. I'm just saying that it's just not really my cup of tea on YouTube. On Instagram, it's a totally different feel. It's a totally different feel to where it's more polished. You know, the way they even go through with, you know, their settings and the filters and the music and all this different kind of stuff. They really kind of revolutionized it in a sense to where, like now when I do reels, I'll sometimes scour Instagram and just kind of look and get an idea of, okay, I can go through my phone now. I got probably about 6 or 7 different songs that I know I want to use for reels. And with that, it's, at the other side of it too is figuring out the trending side. Because some of these things go short. Like some of the stuff you got to go and you got to hit it now. Because 2 weeks from now, it'll be done.
I can't keep up with it, man. I just can't.
The one thing I will say, man, is that they make it pretty easy now from that algorithm side when they have that trending. If you look at the song, they have that little trending arrow where it's pointing up. That's showing, okay, this thing's on an upward trajectory. You can see how many reels it's been used in. But that's part of the fun creative side. I take the music side to really use it in the creative form. And it's one of those things, just like I just finished a reel on some dino ribs, some beef ribs, and with that, I didn't have a song picked out for it, and I was sitting there and I put my video together and I was like, dude, it's been like 4 days, I haven't found anything, and then it was a I don't know if you know Willie Bobo, who's a Latin jazz musician.
I think you told me about him before.
Really great man. And there was a song. It's a song called "Fried Neck Bones and Some Home Fries."
That sounds good.
Yeah, and dude, I'm telling you, dude, like the whole feel and the vibe of the song, I heard, I was like, "Yep, that's it." And I saw it, and it was trending. It only had 400 plays on it, but it was trending. Okay. And this is an old song like from the 60s. And I was like, all right, that's it. And so with that and going in on the editing, like, you know, with a slower feel, I took out a lot of the sped up film, slowed it down, went from that to, you know, instead of a transition out, instead of running it fast, I'll just go ahead and then run it for a couple seconds, black out, then go to the finished part and then go from there. Because the song isn't fast,
right? Exactly.
So that kind of controls your feel when it comes to that, and I think that really helps it from the Instagram side and the creativity side of it. And I made a change too. I've kind of gone. I recently put out a long format rib video on a collab with Alton, and that was my first awesome. Long. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It was great, and Alton had a great cook on there too, man.
Yes, sir.
But that was my first long format video since November, since the end of November. So it's been some time. And from then, I've just really kind of been hitting the reels and going from that perspective and trying to take the long cook and get it into a minute and have people understand that, but at the same time, show the processes, not as thorough, but show all that and then give everybody the answer to that in the description with the directions.
So you told us what you like about Instagram. In contrast a little bit to YouTube, what do you dislike about Instagram, if anything?
Um, it's the main thing that I'm kind of fighting with YouTube and with Instagram. The number of formats that you have within the 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 space.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're really. I'll say this. I don't post that much. I do mainly reels now because and people used to look at my posts. I don't really get views on my posts when I do them now on Instagram. I'll get real views, because I'm hitting a lot more audiences that way. But at the same time, I also have a lot of people. I get a lot of engagement on my stories. But at the same time, you go back and look; those same people don't check my posts. Some of those people don't check my reels. So it's like you're trying to figure out how to grasp and hit one particular audience
It's a
and
moving
keep it.
target.
Yeah, and then recently now I don't know if you've seen it on some of the they had a release with some of the larger channels with this basically a channel format,
Oh Lord.
and it's
It
basically
sounds like they took that from YouTube.
it's basically what it is these folks that have X number of thousand of subscribers or followers. It's basically just a post where they can put in a video or a picture or whatever the case may be and talk. You can't communicate back with them. You can just give them a thumbs up or whatever the case may be. And they just started that maybe about 3 weeks ago. From a couple channels I follow with it on the engagement side, it seems to be lacking a little bit.
They're trying.
But I like the idea of that as to where, hey, if it's something where I can put it directly where it's going to come directly to you, where I don't have to sit up here and let you scroll through it to get to it or whatever.
I do like that actually.
Yeah. So I enjoy that aspect of it. I'm like, if y'all can roll that down, that's something I'd get after, where I could get up here and put, hey, I got, whatever. If I could just throw the link to the reel out there and then focus in on these folks that I know will go watch it, it'd be kind of good. It's almost the same thing as a YouTube notification.
I wonder if they segment that from the general content creating public / regular people, other outside the companies, as a way to help them target their demographic where they want, I guess, content creators like us to chase the algorithm target. I don't know.
It may be that, it may be that. I think when you look at it, I'll say that from this standpoint, I think Instagram probably has the easier of the algorithm to chase and figure out in terms of how you put your stuff out there. YouTube, I'm still trying to figure it out.
I cannot.
It's one of those things to where it's just like, hey, I enjoy it, but at the same time, you're looking at the reason I started with the shorts on YouTube was the returns I was getting. I could put out a video and I could put out a short and easily get 1,500 views, on it versus looking at a video and then having to wait to get to 1,000,
Oh, wow.
and it's about those impressions that you make too. So but I enjoy it. I do believe that we're in a format where that short format is going to stay for a good little bit here. I think that's going to be kind of the push, especially with the younger crowd.
Everybody's getting ADD. Tell you, everybody's getting it.
Man, hey, look, but I'm telling you, dude, it's funny, man. Like on the content creation side, I've come to appreciate that because I can get easier. Up here, dude. One of the reels that I work with, Premier Fire and Barbecue, and one of the reels I just did for them, man, was literally a 6-second reel, and that's it. It just shows me grabbing the lumberjack pellets. Me grabbing the Loot and Booty chicken rub, me seasoning the chicken.
Watch your mouth.
Getting on, get it on the grill, man, and then it shows it on the cutting board, and then that's it. And it's got one of those hot I can't even remember. I can't even, dude. It was a hook from a rap song. I can't even remember which one it is, but it's trending on TikTok now. Not
Oh,
TikTok. On Instagram,
wow.
and so it's like, all right, let's go on ahead and hop on it, and it's probably gonna be released here maybe within the next week at the latest, and I'm sure it'll do well.
Man, wow. Hey, everybody go follow Jeff Outdoors with Jeff everywhere, everywhere, including the place that we are going to talk about. Um, we're leading up to it, so I think so. We talked about Facebook, Instagram, a little bit of YouTube. What do you kind of said what you dislike about YouTube? Tell me what you really like about YouTube. What do you really like about YouTube? Like, what keeps you there? They have the different content models, which
Hmm.
is it's challenging to chase. They're targeting podcasts now, so they're
Hmm.
trying. What about them? In spite of the complexities of their algorithm and trying to figure out what avenue gives the best reward, what keeps you going back?
Honestly, it's where I learned how to be a creator. That's the
That's a good
biggest thing.
answer.
I enjoy putting the work and the time and the detail into editing and things of that nature. YouTube taught me that. Be it from, my first couple of videos, which were really bad, to getting into, figuring out
They weren't
camera
that bad,
shots.
man. They weren't that bad.
Trust me, they were bad, man. Hey, look, trust me, they were rough, bro.
Have you seen some of the videos out there, man?
I've seen. Trust me, I know, man. I know, but dude, it's one of those things when you start and you actually just get to the point of just trying to make each one better, and you're looking at camera angles and doing voiceovers and panning shots and learning about getting at 60 frames per second is good, but if you can get to 120
Oof.
120 frames per second, you can slow mo anything and make it and get an Oscar for it.
I'm telling you.
So it's when you hit those things, man, and you get a shot where you're panning across the grill and you got that smoke coming up like this in slow mo, and then it's like, okay,
Stop it.
yeah, you can make anything into a story, man, and that's what I really
Yeah.
learned on YouTube, and that's what I enjoyed about it. Um, and that's kind of the thing that keeps me coming back to it. When I did that long format a couple weeks ago, it was fun, and I said, yeah, I'll get back into it. And then at the same time, it's like, okay, I'll get back to it. In the meantime, this guy's paying me for short form content,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
let me go ahead and take care of him first, and then get my other content out as well.
Yeah. What would you already mentioned something that you would fix about Facebook. Sorry, YouTube. What is one other specific thing specific to YouTube that you would fix?
I'd say more of I guess, a grouping. And what I mean by that is get an algorithm out there for the different types of content, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you're going for? What is it they're looking for in a podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are they looking for in these cook videos? What is it that's going to make it a little bit easier for the creator to figure it out? Because once they get it figured out, dude, they're just going to keep making that content. One of the things, and I'll say this is a major piece that I picked up from Alton. He's like, look, if you find something that hits, keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
keep doing it. If you get a reverse sear steak or reverse sear ribeye that does extremely well, it's like the next week you go out there with a reverse sear strip. Then you go back with a tri-tip, and he's like, keep running that thing until
Go back with
until
a
it
pork chop.
stops. Yeah, exactly. He's like, keep running it back from that standpoint, and
Mm-hmm.
until it doesn't work anymore. And that's kind of how you build your growth from there.
That's good advice. Yeah. The way I look at Facebook is I say Facebook, this is the the big city that you've created, the community where everybody's at. It's a catch-all. Y'all don't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on. We're just here. There's no clear direction. It was never really going to be any. It's just there because it was the first big footprint of Meta. Instagram, I feel like, all right, Instagram is to keep Meta relevant because they steal
Exactly.
every type of new technology. They stole it from Snapchat. They stole it from stole some from YouTube. They stole some from TikTok, which we're going to talk about. When I see YouTube, I'm like, all right, there's a couple of things here. There's a clear vision of this has always been the how-to video place to find. If you need to learn how to do something like fix your dryer so you don't pay this exorbitant amount of money for somebody to unscrew something and screw it back in, you're going to do it. You want to learn how to cook something. Or you just like to watch music videos. It's for you to watch long-form videos, more like TV, and I think that's why they got into the live TV game. Now, what I would fix with Facebook is stop trying to push me into virtual reality. Stop that and do something. Come on, like, all right, cool. You're done with Jada Pinkett Smith now with the Red Table Talk. You don't know what really is going on in the content world now. You just meandering out there all aimlessly, like I don't know what's going on, and trying to figure it out. Instagram, I need you for once to make something yourself that's new.
Man, look, I'm telling you, dude, they're just look. They're gonna just keep. They're just gonna keep buying up stuff, man. They're just gonna take it and just plug it into that because that's the platform that's doing the best, man. When you look at it from that perspective and the fact that they will take. They'll take and they'll energize and throw these new ideas on there. It's funny because think about it. My stories. I don't post on Facebook when it comes to that. Most of my stuff on Facebook gets seen through my post on Instagram.
That is true. Yeah.
And that's where it feeds to it from there. And it's just like, okay, well,
that's the channel.
That's how they roll, man. That's how they go with it. I enjoy the algorithm's a little bit easier to figure out on Instagram. But I enjoy it, man. I enjoy both those. When it comes to Facebook, don't really care that much.
Hey, look, you talk to Terrence or people that have followed any aspect of social media from my side over the years. I think I quit Facebook like 4 or 5 times, which drastically diminished my listener base for a couple of years. Sorry about that. You blame Trump for that.
Yeah. And let's touch on that too, because that's the thing. I'll be honest with you, from a political standpoint, I think when you look at it, Facebook is definitely the number one, political where you're just gonna get bombarded whether you want it or not.
Yeah,
it's just gonna come at you. YouTube second, and I'd say Instagram third, because I don't really get too much political stuff on there unless I'm searching for a topic. You know how Instagram will dig right into your algorithm and they will just Instagram can
don't click on nothing.
Exactly because
scroll past it.
You don't get 500 of the same thing. So no matter what it is, so.
Yeah, man.
But no, on the political side, dude, like I can understand why you hopped off there. I knew quite a few folks that hopped off for that reason, because it just comes straight at you.
Yeah, and I think, and this is going to kind of segue into the talk about TikTok, is I think that Facebook, what people think it's intended for, and what it's really doing is 2 separate things. And in the way, so here's the good thing, you got to play both sides of it, I guess. We got Obama from it, right? We also got Trump from it. And the other foreign countries got whoever they got from Facebook. Let's be real, they influence, more than just our elections.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I think we have to be cognizant, and I mentioned this a lot over the years, be cognizant that these people are not there to connect you. They're here to steer a narrative for whoever is willing to pay the most ad revenue.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. Um, yeah, I just can't get down with it. I think they're dangerous to the culture more than it is helpful to the culture, and I think that's the bad side of how we cohabitate in a way with the social networks. It starts with, I think, Facebook, and then we forget about Facebook a little bit. We forget about Instagram and what it does to young girls, just trying to keep up with the Kardashians. We forget about YouTube and you installed this YouTube Kids app on your baby's new tablet. Oh, it's so nice. And then they keep going down a rabbit hole of terror, and then
Exactly.
oh god,
Exactly.
and now they radicalize, But so we don't talk about that. We talk about TikTok. Now, before we talk about the elephant in the room, I talked about in the past episode, we about to talk about it now, about the potential ban. From a content creator perspective, what do you like about TikTok, if anything?
TikTok kind of does the best of both worlds when it comes to the combining the thought process of the detail of the reels that people put into it and the best of the shorts on YouTube. So it kind of takes both of those and meshes it together. And
But there's a reason for that, isn't it? Let's be real. There's a reason. They started it, and the other platforms stole from them in a way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I agree with you. But I think when you look at it, you can get that aspect of it because you have people that are saying, okay, hey, this is a platform that I want to work with, and I want to be on here, and it's going to work for me on that side of it. I enjoy the fact that I could take my content and go across 3 different platforms with it. That's good to me. I enjoy that. In terms of TikTok, I really think that I'll say that they do it the best. Not this. I don't think in terms of the shorts, in terms of shorter format. I think Instagram really comes first,
Right.
and then TikTok second, and YouTube third. But they really, like you said, they kind of originated it and they went from there with it. So
Yeah, I think to your point, and it's kind of close to, I feel, in terms of the shorts and the reels. You got, in terms of quality, here you go. You got YouTube last. Like, you never know what you're going to get from it. Instagram is the pioneers of whatever algorithm tweaking, whatever format, whatever camera enhancement that they're going to do. They're going to be the pioneers of it, and people are going to just make a whole bunch of the quantity of it is just going to feed the engine, and then Instagram takes it and it classies it up. Yeah, so, to your point. Yeah, I can't, for the life of me, and this is going back to me fighting against the going deeper down the ADD hole. That don't sound right, but I can't use TikTok like that. For the sake of saving my sensory my sensory organs, like I just need to slow my brain down a little bit,
yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you on that. I think for me, the folks that I watch on TikTok are people that either I know or that have been recommended to me. I get a lot of folks that'll send me stuff to watch on TikTok. It's not like I'm constantly just scrolling through there like I would be on Instagram or whatever just to see what I find. Because I still just think it's unorganized. I don't think it has it's almost like a little bit to where they just kind of let the algorithm go there, where Instagram is really focused. It'll get you in a silo, to where you can you can sit up here one night and watch every single video on LeBron James from back when he was 12 to this morning. They will show that. They will show you that if that's how you start going down that rabbit hole. But TikTok is just a little bit too unorganized for me when it comes to that as far as the consistency, and that's why I'll cut it off, because I'll say, okay, I started with barbecue. I'm looking at dump trucks, and then the next thing you know, then somebody's building a skyscraper. Okay, I'm done. And so it's like, but like I said, folks send me stuff on there, so that's the main reason I watch it.
I've heard from a content creator's perspective, because I rarely ever post on there. I actually didn't remember my correct handle on there, by the way. I think I gave that out on the last spot. I'm like, oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh man.
So I follow people, and I've heard this constant thing. People follow a creator, and it feels like when you open the app again, it doesn't return you back to them. You rarely ever see.
Yeah.
I was following Rich. Rich from the group. I was like, Rich is always posting on there. I had to go find him every time. I'm like, this is annoying. It's work.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Maybe that's their way to try and get you, into something different, But it's one of those things where, again, you look at that and take that and look at the model with Instagram and that channel that they're trying to get with these creators who have larger audiences to say, hey, I'm sending it directly to you. Right. That may be something that TikTok may end up picking up or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I agree with you, because there's certain folks that I follow on there where I see the exact thing that you're talking about. So,
I mean, it'd be cool if TikTok does it, but the big question that's looming, the people are waiting for, is like, will we be able to use it in the U.S.? Mm-hmm. Will it go away? Will the U.S. ban it? First of all, let's talk about it. How do you feel about the potential ban?
It's very hypocritical. Very hypocritical. I really. We have this thought process of, folks say they know what's best for us, and I can understand that to a certain degree, but when it comes to certain things, we don't want to touch it. So we have an issue with it. We're talking about security with it being a Chinese product, a Chinese internet product, right?
China.
Exactly. And that's where I take it, because my thing is, okay, look at Facebook in the last election. Look at the pieces of things that have happened where we find out, oh, well, just because it's an American company, we're sitting up here saying, well, no, they can't make a mistake. No. Look, we all know what the internet is. That's Everybody knows you can put anything out there and it can come back in some way, or somebody can find it, or whatever the case may be. Anything with your internet, you basically need to know that it is open information. Anybody can access it.
That's right.
And even back when people were saying, oh, Snapchat disappears after. No, it doesn't.
Not on their server.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Let somebody get a warrant. They will have all your Snapchats since you created the account. So when it comes to that, I really think it's a double standard when it comes to that. And I think when we sit up here and say, it's a Chinese product and it's a security risk. No, we have risk over here. We have risk with Instagram. We have risk with Facebook. Anything that you can think of online. And I think, it's just funny to me, because we can talk about that and say that that's not good and we don't trust it and it's not, and we're going to ban it. But at the same time, everybody has their own agenda. Yeah, China bans a whole bunch of stuff when it comes to the internet. It's stuff that you can search for that you can't find.
They banned Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
We're mad at that still.
Yeah, I mean, but the point being is that let people choose. Let people decide if they want to get on. there are all these other platforms, much smaller platforms, that are doing some doing really nefarious things. Where it's just like, hey, people can still get out here and find a 4chan and this, things of that nature,
Oh
and
man.
get back on there and do what they want to do. And it's like, you'll have the folks running those things like, I don't know what's going on. I mean, hey, I mean, they just get here and talk, but okay. But yet you're sitting up here wanting to target something and saying, no, we're going to ban it because of the government, because of it being, Chinese, it's run by the Chinese or whatever. It's just not, it's not a good look, and it clearly shows their political motivations behind it.
In the court of public opinion, like I would like to think that the general public is a lot more intelligent than the media portrays them to be. But apparently they run polls. I don't know who takes these polls, but they come out and I think they assume people are dumb. Like, all right, it doesn't make sense. Um, that you ever seen like a movie and they have this plan that should be like really really intricate, and you shouldn't there'd be no holes in the plan. It's tightly woven, and they're pulling the wool over your eyes and stuff like that. I would think people are smart enough today to catch the BS and say, you're not pulling the wool over my eyes anymore, media. Social media to be exact. And you know what you're getting from these people. You know what trash in and trash out is. You know what I mean? How to trust that they don't love you like you think they do. I don't like Facebook for let's stay on Facebook, because Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, people just forget about that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're good with that. They gave us what did Mark give them? A MetaQuest.
Yeah.
I could play with my homie during the pandemic.
Exactly.
Give them something shiny, new, and forget about it. Refocus it on China. And here's the thing. How do we know that Facebook, just like they sold that stuff to Cambridge Analytica, which had ties to Russia, and who is best friends with Russia, how do you know that didn't go down all the way to China? And they got that information. So what does banning TikTok do to the greater scheme of things, where you don't know where the data goes regardless?
Exactly. It's a situation where, again, just let it get back into the people's hands. Just let people make their own decisions. Let folks do what they're going to do, and just go from there. The question that I have is, if it's so much pressure on this, what is it that you don't want to come out politically? What's the threat? What's the real threat? Because we can sit up here and say that, we're talking about, they can spy on us or whatever. Yeah, we have balloons flying, but guess what? We got our own balloons flying everywhere. Trust and believe me, we do. I mean, it's literally it's literally that's what intelligence and counterintelligence is about. But let people make their own decisions. Guess what? I mean, look, they can sit up here. They can make our phones. They can make shoes, but yet you can't use a product to promote your brand because it's a threat and somebody can spy on you. But yet there are other countries around the world that are using, Instagram, using Facebook, using Twitter when Elon decides he wants to. Wants to be right.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Twitter. Screw Twitter. We ain't talk about Twitter. It ain't worth it.
Hey man, that's Elon's toy, man. He bought that just to make it his toy, man. That's it.
Yeah, but to that point too, Elon has bought this company. It's a privately owned company now. He could do whatever he wants to do with it. Where do our expectations for transparency and the follow through for transparency lie for that? He just makes these Teslas, and we're just driving down the street, be like, "Hey, Elon, go ahead, tweet something cool. I'm already that."
You want to know the funny thing, man? I listen to NPR. I've been listening to it ever since I've been riding in a car. My dad always has NPR on.
Good stuff.
I just heard literally earlier today where NPR has deleted their 54 Twitter accounts because they used to tweet regularly. He put a label. I'll be as accurate as I can with it. He put a label on them, labeling them basically state-run media, right?
Yep.
And then they pushed back, like, no, we're not. We're most unbiased news probably that you'll find out
They're
there besides
publicly funded.
besides Associated Press. And then he changed it and put it as government funded. Less than 1% of their funding comes from the government. It comes from individual donors, right? And organizations. So they said, rather than to sit up here and get into this, this contest with you, we're just going to back off here and you can have it. And when you look at it from a media standpoint, and that's kind of the thing where I think this whole internet phase that we're in really can impact things, right? You look at it from a news standpoint. I used to watch some years ago. I used to watch a lot of CNN, things that nature.
Yes.
Heavy. CNN, MSNBC. My news outlets now, really, man, are the Associated Press and NPR. Because you're going to get literally just and you're gonna be like, man, those stories are short because they're taking all the opinion out of it.
Exactly.
They're just giving you the straight details.
Yep.
You look at these other channels that have become, where they've really gotten after this pundit situation, be it to the left or right or whatever, and people think that's news, and be it Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson or Rachel Maddow or any of these other folks, you're getting almost an entertainment show with a little bit of fact and a lot of opinion.
Oh yeah,
and that was birthed because of the internet, and also when you look at it from a social media standpoint, you have folks that will look at what's going on with social media, and they'll just start small and grow big. I mean, they create themselves,
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it, Charlie. Like back when we were in school, before when we wanted to do a report on something, we had to go get an encyclopedia.
Man, look, my mom had the Encyclopedia Britannica. I thought we was rich, man. We had on the bookshelf. Ask me how many times I cracked that thing open, man.
Dude, I'm telling you,
searching for something on there.
Yeah. And then back when me and you were about the same age, man. Back when everything started going, and you had the CD-ROM, and then you had what was that thing called Encarta, where it switched to on the CD-ROM.
Boy.
Then you could find then we started getting to the internet and being able to look anything up. But then at the same time, and not to say that these books and whatnot some of them did not have credibility, because some of them didn't have credibility. But at the same time, it's a lot harder to get a book published back then than it is to where you can have somebody sitting in their basement, they can just throw whatever up, or look at some of this stuff on Wikipedia where people are they change at any time, or somebody saying, hey, it's just crazy what you can do and how you can get something out there, and it's really hard to find trusted sources nowadays.
I think, and this is going to be a little techie, but I think the same way content creators will understand this. I think the same way that camera technology, especially like on cell phones and whatnot, is, and the way post-production is done with deep fakes and all that, the way that we question that is we have to question like everything. Just everything is questionable. Trust nothing.
Yeah. It's gotta you have to have your own litmus test on these things to see if it's really something that you want to take at face value, or is it like, hey, hold on, let me get back to you? Because some of that stuff out there, man, it's just like, I mean, you look at the deep fake videos, they can make anything they want.
The one with the Pope, the recently. One of them almost got me. I'm really good about catching stuff and cross referencing. There's one that Bill Gates came out with not too long ago, and I saw some Facebook reaction videos like it was real, and you really had to dig to find out that was a deep fake, and I'm like, that's scary.
But at the same time, again, with somebody creating that, think about how fast something can spread from that standpoint, and that's what you have to think about from the aspect of social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I was texting with my sister this morning talking about triggers online, because she sent me something that was highly offensive that somebody did. They rearranged a marquee sign outside a store to say something, and she's just like, can't believe it. And I'm like, well, at the same time, who did it? We don't know who did that. We don't know anything about it. We just see that picture, and that picture has been passed around umpteen times. We're not sure what it is or whatever the case may be. And you really just have to sit back and learn to hold on to your personal peace and not necessarily get so emotionally involved in things, because nowadays folks will take something and throw it on the internet just to get views, just to get likes, or just to get whatever, good, bad, or ugly. Terrence said something is really good. They said you can find so many things on the internet that are great, and some people use it for bad things.
It is a balance, because here's the thing that is great. Internet connects people. A pocket full of information. If your willingness to find information is there, you will find what you are looking for. Notice I say it. You will find what you're looking for.
Exactly.
So the good of it is the accessibility. It brings people together. It gives you a tool that is so powerful, which is information. What you do with that information, goddamn it, is you can do great things, or before they catch it, you can mess a whole bunch of stuff up.
Exactly.
And to your point, it doesn't take much time at all. And with AI, you program that sucker, let it do its thing. I'm just saying. With that, and going back to the kind of like the TikTok thing, with all this going on with the fake stuff and all that stuff, you still need a place to tell your narrative. It is a tool for people to at least express pain points. I don't care how people feel about the organization, but the movement of Black Lives Matter, the things that the movements during the pandemic and all that stuff. If we didn't have the internet, what would we have missed with George Floyd?
Exactly.
Know?
And like I said, we talk about the good and the bad of the internet, and there are so many things now that you can catch. And I'll tell you again, this can be accountability for a lot of people, where people can sit up here and get their phone. They've got a production studio in their hand.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And they can make something happen from that standpoint. Yeah. And there are also bad things that can come of it too. I mean, you look at. You look at just like, I'll give you a good example, man. Being in Atlanta, during that time, and you see how quickly those marches can get together and escalate. And the other side of it is you have the good pieces of folks getting together, and at the same time, you got some folks that are out there that are trying to bust up some stuff.
And they usually come from out of town.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, man. I saw one. It was funny because it was on. I can't remember what news station it was on in Atlanta, but they were showing some folks getting ready for a protest at that time. And it's funny because the news reporter was sitting there talking, but it was a guy in the bullhorn, in the background, basically telling everybody, look, we are peaceful. Remember that we're peaceful. If you're out there tearing up, we will throw you out this group. We don't know you. If you get involved with somebody else, we do not know you, and we will leave you, and we will tell the cops who you are. And I'm sitting there listening to it because I'm like, that's exactly the point that they're, between these two different types of folks on that side, the good and the bad, and the internet will capture both. Because guess what? You'll have people that'll capture that will capture and record those folks that are looting or whatever the case may be, and it rolls down to exception management. That's going to be the news story, not the folks that are out there, talking about something in an intelligible manner or communicating through the process of protesting peacefully. And that's the side of the internet that it goes both ways, and that's what we have to watch.
I think at the end of the day, is we all know that there's good and bad with social media. What we're trying to say, U.S. government, is stop lying to us and say it's national security. Well, we know you're just trying to help Facebook, Twitter, and Google. It's fine. Just say it. Yeah. If you just say it, we'll be like, okay, we're just making sure that these U.S. companies make more money. And this algorithm from TikTok is not taking all their market share. Just say it. People will be okay with that. They might. Some people will not like anything you tell them. But if you're honest about it, come on, man, we know what you're doing.
Exactly. And that's what it is, man. It's funny what you hit on, man. It's something an old mentor of mine used to say all the time, man. He said he said, in order to be successful, you got to understand the difference between knowing and doing.
That's right.
You know it. You've got to act on it. They just need to say what it is and be upfront, man. And that's it.
You ain't got to lie to kick it, Craig. You ain't got to lie.
There you go.
On that note, man, it was a great conversation. I hope people take from this a lot of nuance that goes along with this. At face value, you got to look at things for how it works for you. Dig deeper into it. Don't look at one Wikipedia page. Cross-reference it. Figure out, like, what are these guys, like, really doing? Like, what's really going on? How does it impact not just me, but the people around me? Like, I know you have relatives that are impacted some way about what's going on a social media, especially if they are an adolescent. Come on, let's think about this now. Your voting trends are affected by it. As much as you don't like it, you go on YouTube and watch a video, you're done. You're in the statistic now. You're good. So take all this and be like, hey, if we need to change anything, let's change the same thing we need to change about politics is the same thing we need to change about social media. Take the money, the way that the money stream is, change it, and you'll get a different product. I'm just saying.
Hey, on that note, the doors of the church are open.
Hallelujah. We take it up offering. And tithing. Oh, man.
Hey, you hit the nail on the head, man.
Man, it was great having you on the pod, man. Hey, look, tell people where to find you on the socials that we just talked about.
You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and TikTok at Outdoors with Jeff. That's GEOFF.
Catch us on the Black Smoke Barbecue Podcast. Catch us everywhere on Instagram. We do barbecue videos. We talk barbecue. We eat barbecue. We're going to turn into a piece of barbecue one day until y'all figure out we taking over this game.
Yes, sir.
Y'all be blessed out there. This has been another Mavcast back in your ear. And please just look down while you're walking down the steps, man. It can save your life. Just a little tidbit. Come back for more later. All right. Amen.